Okay, so it's time to talk about some PS Vita action games that would probably get you in trouble if you ever attempted to do them in real life. But hey, that's what makes it half the fun, right? Greetings fellow Vita fans, this is James with PS Vita at 2 AM, coming at you with a video about action PS Vita titles on the PS Vita. And if you love said handheld, and you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. And if you are in fact a fan of action games on this platform, and let's face it, who isn't, then make sure to leave me your suggestions and maybe you'll see your pick in a future video. Which will no doubt take me probably over a year to make, considering that's how long it's been since my previous video. Man, I need to get better at that. Okay, so here are a few choices from me personally if you're looking to scratch that action itch and you own a Vita. You violent individual, you. Don't worry, I won't post that dinosaurs meme. Oops. Now with the new Lego Luke Skywalker game out there and causing much buzz for gamers, I figured it would only be fitting to remind everyone out there that the PS Vita has a Star Wars Lego game of their own. That being The Force Awakens, based on the same movie of the same name. Now, what's actually funny in my personal situation here is back in the day, I actually played this Lego game before I watched the actual movie. Probably wasn't the best idea on my part, so needless to say, I got a lot of spoilers that came in the form of Lego content, so I guess I just gotta take that for what it is. Not quite as epic as experiencing them in the actual movie, I can confirm that. However, you will be happy to know that once I got around to seeing the movie, that this is a pretty faithful recreation of the events in that film, although it does in fact have the original Lego humor and charm that you would expect from the franchise at this point. And since we've reached now into the realm of where there's actual voice acting in these Lego games, only help to improve the presentation. And I think one of my most favorite parts about this game in particular is that, okay, you get your standard action events that you expect from your Lego games, but you also get air combat and speeder bike or whatever the heck those Star Wars bikes are called. I don't know, it's been so long since I've watched the original movies to enjoy with this as well. So it's actually a multi-genre game, along with being able to play a ton of characters and yada yada yada. Thus, if you are a Star Wars and or Lego fan, well, this one's a no-brainer. So chopping up stormtroopers to pieces as they frantically remember their loved ones for a last time not violent enough for you? Well, how does beating up rabid fans sound? Because there's a game like that. This is Kawaii Desu. So in this title, you take on the role of a J-pop pop idol whose fans happen just to be technically getting just a little bit out of hand, and rightfully so too, because we wouldn't have much of a game on our hands here if they wouldn't. And it's up to you to just basically beat the crap out of them before they're able to, you know, touch you and probably molest you, I guess. That would be in the M-rated version though. And of course, my mind just went there automatically. Yeah, there's certainly no fan appreciation when it comes to this title in particular. How dare all you rabid fans make these girls popular and give them fame and fortune? Who wants that? And this is the classic example of what you see is what you get. It's one of those games where once you play just one stage of the game's levels, you pretty much have seen everything that the title has to offer. And I will admit here, the gameplay is paper thin. You just have to rag on the buttons, all while getting carpal tunnel probably in the process, until all the fans are dead. Or for any kids that happen to be watching, defeated. You can level up your character, which will help you to defeat them even faster and gain more points, and you can also raise other stats like your defense and even change the character's costume and unlock more new characters to play, who we can assume all have rabid fans at this point. I can confirm that they do and still have no appreciation for them. Now the reason why I'm recommending this game in particular, even though the gameplay is pretty paper thin, is because although there's not a whole lot to it in the grand scheme of things when compared to the other games on this video, it's oddly mesmerizing. And since the stages are very short, it's perfect for a pick up and play experience when you don't have a lot of time and you just want to get your action game fix on before, like, you know, you have to do other stuff that are probably more important than playing this game. So yeah, if you have a chance, check it out. It's a lot more addicting than you would first expect. Just make sure that your play sessions aren't too long, otherwise you risk losing your hands. Okay, let's move on to a game now that has a lot more depth to it, but is still pretty mindless, and that is Warriors All-Stars. I guess we all know how popular crossover games can be these days, which I personally blame the likes of Kingdom Hearts for in general, that along with having a very confusing story. But it looks now like Koei Tecmo is taking up their own shot at this concept with Warriors All-Stars, a game that features various Koei Tecmo characters from across all of their history into one grand Muso-style game. game. And I guess it only made sense to make this a Dynasty Warriors clone just because, well, they're constantly always making that series. And I love it. So yeah, you'll get to play as characters from across the board from Koei Tecmo's history, such as the Atelier games, Dead or Alive, Casino Pachinko games too for some reason, and many more. Although I was disappointed at the fact that there were no Fatal Frame characters in this, so that was kind of a missed opportunity. I love that series so much. And if you've never played any of these Musou style games, well, they're great for getting your action fix on. You're essentially a one-man or woman army, and you just gotta take on as many mooks as possible, and the more you level up, the faster you're able to take on those mooks and do it more in style. Now, I should mention that for the PS Vita, sadly, this was a Japanese-only release. However, if you do in fact have a modded PS Vita, you'll be able to download an English fan patch for the game. Honestly though, for something like this, I'm not expecting the story to really be splitting atoms here, but you know, for those who just want to know what the heck is going on, it's helpful. Kill waves of enemies and find out for yourself. You monster! Okay, so now let's feature a game that will probably be no doubt a licensing nightmare if I try to show any actual animated footage of this, so we're just gonna stick with the gameplay stuff. This is Attack on Titan, which, if you're an anime fan, probably needs no introduction, unless you're me, because I haven't watched this series yet. I know I'm terrible and I'm probably deserving of dying a meaningless, humorless death 1,000 times over. But before that happens, let's talk about this game first. So you play as these anime characters that like zip on zip lines and have to kill these like huge meat-like looking monsters that kind of resemble something I once saw on the Late Late Show back in the 90s. Or maybe even coughed up after eating a bad pizza. Oh, and these monsters all appear to be naked, so I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be YouTube friendly, but I guess I'll find out. And for those of you who are into gore and nudity, well, you'll be happy to know that that niche will definitely be satisfied in a game like this, though these monsters just aren't doing it for me for some reason. Now, as far as gameplay goes, well, I just pretty much described it at the beginning of this topic, where you play a bunch of anime characters that zip line through the air and you have to take on these huge giant meat monsters. And I will say one thing, I sort of got a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus deja vu with this, because every enemy in this is practically its own boss. And I will admit that when you take down each monster, it's a very satisfying experience. My only minor complaints with this game, which I guess this is kind of a constant for Vita, but it's the frame rate. It's not so splendid all the time. And two, there's a bit too many cutscenes in this game for my personal liking. I honestly felt like I was doing more watching than I was playing, and getting various angles from giant naked monsters, because that's always fun. And those camera angles can be pretty creative, let me tell you, but not in a good way, unfortunately, unless you're into giant meat monsters, which is the main reason why I still have no idea what's going on in the storyline of this game, because I was just skipping through those cutscenes like a mofo. So that's pretty much all I can say about this. The gameplay is pretty solid, though I have heard many people in the past say that Attack on Titans 2 is probably worth getting more because it's just bigger, badder, and better, and is essentially the same game. I haven't tried that one, so I can't confirm this, but just keep in mind that that game for the PS Vita is Japanese only, so that might waver on the decision that you make in the end. So pick up your giant meat cleaver and find out for yourself. Yeah, that works. And I guess with that has officially exhausted all of my picks for today. No, seriously, I am very exhausted. These games are pretty action-packed, and I'll be having naked meat monster flashbacks until the day I die. But everyone, I would love to hear from you now. What games do you recommend in the action category for the PS Vita? What are some of your favorites? Had you heard of any of these titles I talked about here today? Did any of those meat monsters turn you on? Make sure to leave me all of that good juicy stuff down below. And as always, fellow Vita fans, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me. Love you all, and I'll see you next time. This video has been brought to you in part by all of these wonderfully generous supporters who help make this content possible. So a huge thank you goes out to Dr. Super Artie, Ricardo Martinez, Donut Valley, Nintendo Switch at 2 AM, Azumara, 1488 Dental, Rizal Pliskin, Buzz Saiyan, Sabin Fire, Chris Foxhound, Matt Hargett, Mazgus, Tasha Monty, Eric DeWitt, Juan M. Hermosillo, Burzin Mystery, Kayonko, Hector Gonzalez, Jamie, PSP Guru, Lacerated 87, No Good, Oridri, Franz Hartle, Mishuga 360, Shin Snake, Alan Iwazuk, Zakrito, Airkick 72, Rendi Azadech, Bushin Ryu Cat, Milk Sama, Neo Arashi, Reiko Star, Matt Fox, B Mystery, Makis Blob, Gutter Drums, Hemdall Imbert, Wendy K, David Ray, Phantom XRS, Saul Ramirez, Kyle Brooks, JR, Silica, Per Sterner, Adam Thury, Sculpture Tugel TCG, BMF, Clayman Malarkey, VG Legends, Jared Haddo, Kevin Enright, Heston Joseph, Crazy Cat, Rodrigo Vera, Michael O'Connor, H-Hitter, Jale, Joseph Shavak, Richard Cruz, PS Vita S, Adam Sondi, and Hero Acer. If you would be interested in supporting the channel and gaining access to a number of perks, including having your name featured on the end credits of these videos, or if you wish to remain anonymous, that can be provided too, then make sure to check the links down in the description below. I have numerous ways for you to do this down there. Can't support in this manner? Don't worry about it. I also have some affiliate links from both Amazon and PlayAsia for anyone who is interested in purchasing something from them. Basically, the way it works is so long as you use one of those links to just access their website, then anything you purchase afterwards, a small commission will go to help support this content at no extra cost to you, the consumer. I also have channel merchandise available, and of course, as always, likes and shares can help equally as much. And all I can say is, after playing the likes of Attack on Titan on the PS Vita, I'm not going to be sleeping well in the next coming months.